Which is the wholesale price of expensive tea? In this video I will reveal the price of expensive tea at the source, also how it relates with the retail price that you usually pay, and if you plan to go to China yourself to buy tea there, I will give you a lot of tips to save money. So let's get started. Hi guys, this is Gabriele from nannuoshan, where we share the pleasure of drinking and discovering genuine farm tea. As you see, I'm not in the usual studio, but I'm here outdoor because I just once more wanted to escape the Colorado winter. I took a plane and flew to these tiny islands here. It's really wonderful, and it gave me inspiration for my next video that I'm doing right now. In fact, traveling to this place actually brought me back to the time when I was traveling to China, one of my first trips when nannuoshan was not yet existing, and I went actually there not only for the tea culture but also to save money. So my thought was, let's go to China. I definitely will pay a little bit because I have to pay for the flight and so on, but I will buy tea for the whole year, saving a lot of money. And so I thought, let's give you a little bit of insight about the tea prices in Europe, in the US and in China, and also comparing wholesale price and retail price. So before we start going into the detail in China, let's see which is the situation here in the Western world, and let's have a look in general about the nannuoshan retail prices. So at the moment, I think that the cheapest tea that we have online is a black tea, Gongfu, that costs €6.50 for 50 grams. While the most expensive is definitely Baijiguan Superior, which has I think a price of €90 per 50 gram. So the ratio between the two tea, the price of the two tea, €90 and €6.5 is 14 times. Now, if we look at the wholesale price, the nannuoshan wholesale price, we have that the cheapest tea that I ever sourced for nannuoshan, if I exclude one tea that was given to me for a very small price because the farmer wanted just to get rid of it, costed 4.5 RMB for 50 grams. Now 1 RMB at today, so 10 RMBs at today exchange rate is 1.3 euros. So it means that for that tea I paid 60 euro cents for 50 grams. This actually is not the Gongfu that I mentioned before, was another tea, but the most expensive tea that I ever sourced for nannuoshan is in fact really the Baijiguan Superior that costed us 350 RMB. This means about 45 euros for 50 grams. Alright, so now you see that the ratio at the source is different because the cheapest I paid is 4.5 RMB, the most expensive is 350 RMB, so the ratio is about 78-80 times, so it's much larger than the ratio of the tea on our shop, which is only 14 times. So why there is such a broader, a wider range of prices at the source, while in a retail price in nannuoshan shop, but also in any other shop, it is a little bit more compressed. I will tell you more maybe in another video about that, but the important thing here is that we basically try to reduce the margin that we have on expensive tea so that you can actually access it. Otherwise we could offer only cheaper tea because no one would buy them. So in this video, all the prices that I gave you now about the wholesale price are price that we pay to the farmer. However, the farmer is not always the tea picker. So if you are interested in how much the tea picker earn, then have a look at the video that is now shown here on the screen where we discussed the topic. And at this point you might think that actually nannuoshan makes still a lot of money, because we said we sell for Baijiguan for 90 euros, but I paid at the source only 45 euros. Yeah, This is actually not the case, and first of all, of these 90 euros, 15 are VAT, so we get only 75 euros, and but still the difference between the 45 and the 75 is 30 euros. So do we really get those 30 euros? The answer is in another video that we already made, the breakdown of tea prices that you see also here now in the screen. So if you're curious where those 30 euros margin end up, have a look at that video. It also compare not only the nannuoshan, so a specialty tea shop, with a larger company, so that you can have also an idea of what happened to other tea realities. Okay, so this is, as said, the wholesale price at nannuoshan, and what we want to look next is the retail price in China. Before we speak about retail price, there is one other thing or two that I want to tell you. The first thing is that you are not above the market law. What I mean with that? I mean that there is a certain market price for tea and you cannot get it for much cheaper than that. It happens to me, you don't know how often that people come to me and tell me, you know, I got these super fancy teas for very little price, look at this, try, what do you think about it? For example, very expensive pu'er from Laobanjiang or Bingdao. You cannot get those tea for very little price. I know that is very tempting, but let's pretend that you are a farmer in Wholesale, for example, and you have a very small garden that give you a yield of few kilos per year, and out of those few kilos you can make about 50,000 euro. Now, would you sell that tea for 5,000 euro instead of 50,000? I think you won't do that, and he would do that neither. So if you want that specific tea, you have to pay that money, and there is no way you can get it for cheaper. I know it's very tempting if you find a tea that is very cheap, but please don't buy thinking it is the real thing. If you want to buy thinking it is a good fake, go ahead, but please remember yourself, it is a fake tea. Otherwise you will bias your understanding of tea, because you drink something that is not real and you pretend it be real, and also you will induce more and more farmers to counterfeit their tea, which is something that we don't really want to. This is very much applicable for pu'er, for yancha, for dancong, and for white tea. Anyway, if we let's go back and have a look at the price of expensive tea. You've seen that our Baijiguan Superior, we sell it for 90 euros for 50 grams, so you can think this is really high price, and definitely is a high price, but it is by far not the highest price you can get for yancha. So look at this list. This is known in Wholesale as the blacklist. It is released every year in spring. The one that I show you in the screen here is from 2018, and you see the first line there is a tea that was sold for I think it is 5,200,000 RMB. So it's super high amount of money, but this was a specialty from the 6 Da Hong Pao mother bushes that was sold in the ocean. So you cannot really use that as a comparison, but it's used there just as a reference of actually bushes that are no more harvest. That price is from many years ago. The second line, however, is the most expensive tea from Wholesale from the year 2018. That was sold at 48,000 RMB for 1 gin, which is 500 grams. Now, this means that for getting half a kilo of that tea, you have to pay about 7,000 euros, and it's not enough to have the money. Since the amount is so little and there are so many people in China that will spend that money, you have also to know the farmer well, have the opportunity to put your hands on that tea. For those of you that were with us on the nannuoshan tea tour 2019, last year, you will see we have been in New Lankan, which is a valley with very expensive tea bushes, and in the heart of New Lankan, where there were just those few bushes that are considered being the heart of the cow, the heart of New Lankan, that tea is the number 17 in the list, and in 2016 was sold for 6,600 yuan, which is about 1,000 euro for 500 grams. Alright, now that I've given you a little bit of information about the really expensive tea, let's go back to retail price in China, and let's pretend you go to China and you ask yourself, can I save money if I buy tea in a shop in China? Yes, you can, but there are a few things to consider. First of all is that the choice is definitely wider. If you go in a tea market in Beijing, you have within few 100 meters, you have thousands and thousands of different teas. It's completely overwhelming. So there is no problem about choice. If you go to China, you have a so much wider choice that you can have in any other online shop. However, concerning the authenticity of the tea, that's what gets a little bit more tricky, especially for very famous tea. So for example, if you buy Longjing from a renowned and trustful online shop in Europe or in US, you can be fairly sure that it is the Longjing from the Longjing village if they really advertise it as such. Well, if you go to Beijing, everyone in a tea market in Beijing pretends having Longjing from Longjing, but Longjing is a very small village and it cannot serve all the shops, so most of those tea will be fake and it will be very hard for you to recognize which one is fake or not. So fake tea is definitely more of a problem in China than it is in the Western world. About the prices, yes, you can save a little bit, but don't expect to save tons of money. In a normal tea shop, you might save maybe 20 to 30% with respect to what you pay usually here in Europe and in the US. But this is only because running a Chinese tea shop is cheaper than running a European shop. They don't really pay VAT, have little taxes, if at all. They don't have high transportation costs. Think about sending a tea from the Longjing village to Beijing, it costs nothing, while sending the tea from Longjing to Europe, it costs a lot. So you have differences, but don't expect to get tea for half the price. That will certainly never happen. All right, now this is a little bit about retail price, if it's worth it for you or not to go to China and buy retail price tea to save money. Up to you, depends also how much quantity you buy. But what you're really interested into, or you should be interested into, is to buy tea at wholesale price. And now I want to tell you a little bit more and how you can get tea in China for wholesale price. If you travel to China yourself, you really want to get your hands on wholesale price tea, because there really makes the difference. And you can really get wholesale price tea. You don't really have to have a shop. For that is different than here in the Western world, but you have to know a little bit of some information basically, and that I want to share with you. Well, first of all, you need to know some words in Chinese and how to ask tea for wholesale price. I will cover this aspect about Chinese tea lexicon in a different video. But today we want to focus about prices, right, and quantities. So first of all, the minimum wholesale quantity in China is 1 jin, that corresponds to 500 grams. So you have to buy at least half a kilo of tea to get wholesale price. You might, if you don't want to hold the tea for yourself, you might want to share that with friends, but that's definitely a way of getting cheaper price. You cannot simply buy 50 grams. Now, if you buy even more than 500 grams, like few kilos, sometimes you get even a stronger discount. But usually a farmer would give you exactly the same price if you buy 500 grams or 10 kilo. That makes no difference. And let me think. So we said about the quantity. What we want to say, of course, is also that you don't get wholesale price only from the farmers, but you can get wholesale price also from normal tea shops, especially for tea shops that are in tea market or in tea shopping mall. You go there, and even if it is not the producer, you can ask for wholesale price and we'll give you a major discount if you buy enough tea. And also this is particularly true if the seller is belongs to the same family of the producer, because they can get the price, really a good price on their tea. All right, now if you go to China and want to buy wholesale price tea, you also need to know which is the market price, because when they start giving you price, you have also to show that you are competent and you understand what they are talking about. So I want to give you now a little bit of information very quickly about different types of tea and which is the wholesale market price in China. And if you do all the conversion, it will help you also a little bit understanding the relationship between wholesale price and retail price. So let's start with white tea. White tea is very popular in China now, really popular in the past years, so it's very hard to get good price. But still, if you buy, for example, Shoumei, you can get fairly good quality starting from 100 yuan per 500 gram. But if you go to buy Hao Ingen, then the prices are different and you have to start by 500, 600 yuan. And these prices are only true for very fresh tea from the same year in which you buy the tea. If you buy a white tea that is 1, 2, 5, 10 years older, the prices will increase drastically, many times the price that I told you. Now let's say green tea, for example. Green tea, let's start with Longjing, the most famous one. If you want really in China an authentic Longjing directly from the farmer in Longjing, I would say that the minimum price is 400 RMB for half a kilo. If you buy tea for less than that, it's either not authentic or it is from very late in the harvest season. This is for 400, maybe 400, 600 is really the minimum to get decent quality. To get really good quality from the first days of the harvest, you have to go to 2,000 to 3,000 yuan per jin for half a kilo. But there are other green tea on the market, even more expensive, like Anji Bai Cha. Anji Bai Cha, you don't get really good quality for 400, but there are tons of green tea that are really worth their price, and you can have really high quality from early in the harvest for just as low as 150 yuan. 150 yuan is about like 20 euros for half a kilo tea, and you're really good quality tea. Black tea is cheaper. Black tea you can have really good quality starting from 100 yuan, but to get really, if you want to get some fancy tea and you start looking in the direction of, for example, May, then the prices go high and they reach 1,000 and more very easily. The last category I want to speak about is oolong. So we already saw some prices of yancha before, but those are really super fancy tea that I want to tell you one again. You can get those teas, but you have to pay thousands of euros. Yeah, and concerning normal teas, normal yancha that we drink every day, still really good quality from the original natural reserve in Wuishan. They have prices that are actually also similar to the Fengwan Dansong for the Phoenix single bush from the Udon mountain, and they start by about 600-800. This is really the very minimum if you really know the farmer, and you can buy directly from the farmer. You cannot even get those prices as wholesale price in a shop, but this is a very minimum, and they can go easily in the range of 1,000, 2,000 if you really want some decent and not decent, some really good quality yancha and dansa. Alright, this is all I wanted to tell you about today. I hope you have enjoyed watching this video, and don't forget to give us a thumbs up, very important. And if you haven't done it yet, go ahead and subscribe our channel, and more videos like this will come your way very soon. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.